Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, talking at you live once again about episode 4 of the anime series Shoukoku no Altair. And for the most part, it was just as interesting as I kind of hoped it would be, but I still did have some outstanding problems with it. Mostly to do with some really wonky editing all throughout, starting very much before the opening credits. And then toward the end with the fight sequence, there was a lot of panning and scanning going on. It's like, do I have a VHS in? A VHS to DVD transfer? Just really some strange oddities there with the editing. As well as, as soon as we're introduced to this character of Suleiman, who I was really impressed with and I thought was really befitting of a mentorish role to Mahmoud, he's dispatched by the end of the episode. He's got to go in and contact, Zaganos Pasha and everything. And because of how they're going to answer to the Rod Orm, this secret police sort of, conglomerate that works underneath the Empire's Lewis and all this kind of stuff. It kind of fell flat by the end because I was thinking the whole time, wow, here is Mahmoud. He's returned home. He's met the last surviving Turgle, apart from himself, who is also a falconer. They are very much cut from the same cloth. And sadly, they part ways just as soon as they've been introduced to each other. Now, I'm hoping they will eventually catch up with each other again, but it seems like Mahmoud is destined for grand, exalted travels the world over, and he'll probably kind of, sort of, akin to Arslan Senki, be making, adding to the list of compatriots he has that he can call upon later. I don't know how much information gathering he's going to actually be successfully accruing and all that kind of stuff, even though that is kind of his mission statement now. He's been taught that information is sort of the crux of any momentous movements within the governments of the world, and at least these governments, in their opposition, in the fact that they might go to war. And both of these men really want to try to prevent war, penultimately. And it just felt like, okay, well, hopefully we're going to spend the next 3 or so episodes here in Mahmoud's hometown. He'll be reliving his memories. We'll learn more about the family he lost. We learned that his mother was killed. Somebody had to tell me that in the comments a couple of times, as well as much more suggestive things that happened to her. And they could have really fleshed that out over the next couple of episodes if Mahmoud had been contained to his old stomping grounds and got to know this very mentorish figure in Suleiman. I was just really kind of disappointed by the end that, the adventure continues. He's leaving just as soon as he came up on the scene. Suleiman's gone as well. He's going off to, find out what we're going to do next. And he's talking like, it's going to be far off before they ever see each other again. It's not going to be until Mahmoud ends up becoming Pasha again before they're going to share a drink together again and all this kind of stuff. And it just kind of, I don't know, it really kind of let the air out of my balloon, like, oh, wow, I like this pairing. I like them being paired up. And then, of course, the Rod Orm, as I say, they manage to, because they're going and killing all the sort of muscle in that spy network and everything, they end up localizing to the guy Mahmoud first meets in this hometown area, who's a right badass, flipping all over the rooftops and everything. But then you have this chick who reminded me very much. Now, I wasn't familiar with the character. I've seen images of this character and cosplays of the character, but she immediately reminded me of 2B from what I'm assuming is a game called Nier Automata or something like that. I was not familiar with the actual character's name or where she came from, but the black-clad sort of eye patch over one side of her face, one half of her face, I think it's the same side as this character, and then the short cropped white hair, almost a bob cut and everything. I mean, it was like the same exact character almost, even down to having like a blade and everything, or whatever that was, like a whip with diamond shard, string in it or something like that. They could cut with it, they could fling it around like a whip, and it was kind of insane, But of course the Eagles get involved because both, Mahmoud and this Suleiman guy, they have their own respective Katarina and Iskar, I think it was, that is Mahmoud's. I haven't quite learned the name of his eagle yet, but, it's said that because of the wintertime or something like that, or rather he won't be able to get the eagle back until wintertime because it's time for them to go off and roost or whatever it is. So I guess we're going to not see, his car or whatever the eagle's called for a little while, coming soon. And it's like, okay, well, what's going on here? We're like, 4 episodes in, and we're talking already about some of the most intriguing aspects, questionable though they may be, but some of the more intriguing aspects are already on their way out the door. Suleiman, the eagle's soon gonna be, and as well as Mahmoud. He's not even gonna stay in his old stomping ground. Not that there's much left for him, but I hope there would be more. Even though they basically tout the fact that these two are the only sole survivors of that old, village and everything, I hoped there would be more ties, maybe people who came in afterward who would remember the kid. Maybe they were there when he was taken out by Halil and everything like that. And I don't know. It was like, it built me up so excitedly and so anticipatingly, and then it just sort of deflated by the end because everyone's going their separate ways again. It's like as soon as we're introduced to cool characters, cool, potentially meaningful, and grossing, compelling characters, bye-bye, we're going away. We're going away now. And I don't know, it was kind of disappointing for that, as well as I say the wonky, strange editing that was going on. You have the guy fall into the water, which you realize later, oh, it's the Rod Orm. They're going around killing these people in the spy network and everything. But you wouldn't have known that, if they hadn't said anything. It would have been like, what the hell was that? Some guy fell to his death into a lake or a pond or something, and it was just out of nowhere, no explanation or anything. If they hadn't spoken about the fact that this was the Rod Orm, what they were doing, you wouldn't have known. And then, like I say, through that battle, there were certain pan and scan segments that it was just like, what the hell is going on with the editing here? Those sequences in that action sequence that weren't so edited were pretty good enough on their own. They were pretty spectacular enough on their own. So I don't know. I don't exactly think the formatting and the translation, without even being familiar with the source material, I don't feel like the translation of this anime is as spectacular as it ought to be. I feel like there's so much promise in this story. There's so much, gravitas and weight and drama that could be taken out of this. And I feel like the anime maybe is just dumbing it down and making some stupid course corrections or decisions. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is exactly how the story goes. But what I've been told thus far in the 3 episodes previous is that they've skipped over things, they've edited around things, they've censored some things by leaving it out entirely, omitting it. And it's just like, man, if we got a hardcore translation of this story, I'd probably be that much more impressed with it. It's just sort of, I don't know, it's falling. Let me put it to you this way. I've compared it very much to Arslan Senki, and at the moment, it's kind of falling secondarily to Arslan Senki for me, as far as which one was probably the better show. And that's sad, because this one has so much potential, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that was episode 4. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. Kind of wish they would have stretched it out a little bit. I wish we would have seen more of the relationship between Mahmoud and Suleiman, since they have so much in common, being the last 2 survivors of their old stomping grounds, which has been gone for such a long time. And I don't know. I'm not left with any sense of having an idea of what the direction of this story is. So Mahmoud's going to travel around. Why? What's he, is this like a coming of age thing where he's got not only accrue potential compatriots to his cause, but he's got to accrue information, just grow up before he can hope to command and be a leader and be a pasha again? I'm not exactly sure. It just sort of faltered out by the end with uncertainty for me, where I thought I knew where it was going. I had these expectations of, it's going to be a few episodes we're going to spend with these characters getting to know each other. It's going to be grand and dramatic and compelling and maybe even they will journey together. None of that by the end. So, I don't know. I don't know what to really make of the series overall. It's somewhat interesting and compelling, but it's not drawing me in as much as I wish and hope it would, because it keeps snuffing out certain expectations, whether it's the miracles of Mother Nature with birds knowing where to be at the right time and whom to attack and everything. Although that was pretty interesting that the Rod Orm chick actually turned the tables on Mahmoud in that moment where she dumped sheep's blood or whatever it was on him so that the eagles would scent it and attack him inadvertently. But then it was subsequently called off very swiftly as well. So, again, it just faltered. It gave me this concept that I was like, oh, wow. And then 3 seconds later, it's gone. That's kind of been what the show's been doing time and time again. Either giving me, these outlandish things that I have to really behold a suspension of disbelief to wrap my mind around, or these grand, compelling ideas that are too quickly ripped away again. But I guess we'll see. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to see where it goes. No idea if I'm going to be back here next week to talk about it. We'll have to see. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 4 of Shoukoku no Altair, if you've seen it as well, if you agree with me at all, if it's faltering at all for you, or you're finding it highly engaging and exciting. Anything goes in the comments below, even if our POVs happen to disagree, as long as we have a respectful conversation. That's what this is all about. So yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.